Hello, welcome to another introduction video by the title of the video. I'm here as a player with the DM, Sheep. Uh,
Hello.
what are we going to be doing? What new campaign are we doing, Sheepy? What are we doing?
So we're gonna do something I'm very excited for reasons I'll get into later. The campaign is called Odyssey of the Dragonlords, which is a third-party pre-written campaign which originated on Kickstarter, which we've made good and bad experiences with,
Mm.
as veterans of this channel will remember. However, this one was released completely, so there's no risk of Throne of Night. And it's also by the writers of Baldur's Gate and Knights of the Old Republic, which anyone who knows those games, that's good.
They're incredible writers. They do some amazing stories. Amazing stories.
Yeah, I'm of course excited for every new thing I run. Otherwise, I wouldn't attempt to run them. But for this one, I've devoured the book in like one sitting, so it's good.
Mm.
To summarize what it's all about, it is mythic heroism in an ancient Greece inspired setting. Mythic heroism means prophesized heroes and impossible tasks and potentially massive monsters, uh,
Hercules. Yeah.
Hercules, Achilles. Uh,
The heroes of Greece, basically. Picture those.
exactly. And the Greece part of it also means that, you've got gods walking the earth and doing all kinds of shenanigans. uh, some human guys, some, if you know the stories about Zeus and stuff, not quite human guys doing shenanigans.
All of the animal forms. He just had a whale of a time.
Oh, yeah.
Whale of a
You've
time.
got like fate and oaths and curses actually being a palpable thing.
Yeah.
And of course, you've got marble columns and hoplites and olives for some reason.
and
And
basically Sparta.
basically Sparta, sure.
Yeah.
And in this specific case, which isn't entirely ancient Greece historical correct, you've got dragons too, because
Why not?
I can't give the exact quotes, but the writers of the book basically said they didn't know how to make ancient Greece even more appropriate for D&D, so they just left it as it is and added dragons.
I mean, you can't have Dungeons and Dragons and not have dragons in the system unless you said
Exactly,
it.
yeah.
It has to be there somewhere.
Um, so that's like the sort of setting. The premise itself, I can give a little recap.
Hmm.
Uh, the campaign takes place on the continent that calls itself Thylea, named after the ancient Titan Thylea, who supposedly created the land and such. And, before the campaign is set, like over 500 years ago, it was just inhabited by centaurs and sirens and nymphs and satyrs and cyclopses and all those things. But about 500 years ago, humans, dwarves, and all your usual races arrived, shipwrecked or going there intentionally. Wasn't an easy trek for sure, and going back home wasn't exactly an option. So they just stayed there, really. However, the two divine titans that rule over Phylea at the time, Sidon, the Lord of Storms, and Lutheria, the Mistress of Death, they had mixed opinions about those settlers. Very quickly taught those settlers to respect them with storms and nightmares and all kinds of bad things, which the settlers responded to with building shrines and doing sacrifices as was expected of them. And the Titans eventually were like, all right, they're not that bad, I suppose. So the settlers survived, but definitely remained at the mercy of those two sometimes fairly mercurial Titans. Years later, however, a flight of bronze dragons with armored riders with champions on their backs arrived in Phylea, and over a few very short years, helped those settlements become cities, those cities become kingdoms, and yeah, it was good times all around with those dragon lords, as the uh, as mentioned in the campaign. The mortal settlers had great times and conquered much of Phylea. were no longer bullied by the mortal races, the centaurs doing raids on them and such, and good times were had. However, since it wasn't the Titans really involved in that, they got jealous very quickly. The attention from the mortal settlers sort of swiveled towards the Dragonlords, who did good things for them rather than just bullying them around and asking for sacrifices, which the Titans didn't like. They wanted all the attention, and so they decided to just kill everyone, or tried to, anyways. Both by summoning storms and using all their powers, as well as amassing massive armies of the what's the word, of like
Natives.
centaurs and of the natives. That's the
Yeah.
word. Centaurs and cyclopses mostly to just wreck them. Uh, and that's what's now 500 years later referred to as the First War, because the Dragonlords rallied the people and said, "We will no longer be at your mercy. We will make our own destiny," and formed a counter army to fight them. And it was a massive war indeed. Dragons, being as large as they are, were pretty much the first to fall, targeted by Sidon's lightning and other things. However, eventually, on some of the worst days the mortal armies had, a borderline miracle appeared, because 5 gods had decided to descend down from the heavens and assist them, inspired by the defiance and resistance of the mortal races. They are not only 5 gods; they are also referred to as the Five, who arrived in the mortals' moments of need and joined the fight. Most of them in human guise, leading the front lines. Others staying up in the heavens and doing, your godly things up there. And eventually, the First War ended in sort of a stalemate, a compromise, so to speak. It ended in the Oath of Peace, with the Titans and the Five basically signing a contract saying, for the next 500 years, we're not going to fight. The mortals will be fine, the natives will be fine, no fighting. 500 years of peace. And that was really a great victory. The alternative, of course, would have been for everyone to be dead, which isn't good. And so what followed was basically 500 years of golden age for everyone involved. Now, of course, because playing during a golden age where nothing really happens is not exciting, uh, the campaign will take place shortly before those 500 years come to an end, where the Oracle has seen terrible things coming now that the Oath of Peace is ending, and looking for, a way out. And that way out is a group of fate-chosen, oracle-chosen, prophecy-chosen potential heroes who may or may not be able to avert the coming disaster.
Yeah,
And
and they're all
that's where
fated.
we'll start.
Yeah, they're all fated slightly differently, each player. It's not like the group is fated to one destiny. Each player, each hero is destined to have their own fate fulfilled and uh, something to really immortalize them, and not just as a group but individually.
Yeah, each of
Quite
the
cool.
characters basically has their own zero to hero story anchored in what is called an epic path. So that'll be exciting. It'll be a bit of story spotline for them and pretty much them alone, which is always good to have.
Yeah, definitely. It's a
But
different
yeah,
twist. There's definitely a twist compared to most D&D games where it's the party that does epic things, and it takes a very long time, probably epilogues mostly, where they do their own thing, get their own hero story. Um, I quite like having individuals.
of course, the personal stories are pretty intertwined with the actual thing going on. So it's
Of
not like
course. Yeah.
Oh, we have to oppose the Titans, but first let me sail to this island all the way, like 3 months that way, because I have to.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
that's not going to be it. Fate works in mysterious ways, and as it turns out, uh, you'll see.
It all intertwines, which is pretty cool. And if anybody can manage it, these writers can manage intertwining those. And of course, it's its own continent as well. With it's like an archipelago, very Greek-like in structure.
What a coincidence!
What a coincidence! And of course, at the moment, we've got 4 players, including myself.
Yes.
With a medium to low possibility of having a 5th join us, depending on their schedule and if stuff happens. But we're generally going with just 4. And it's an interesting mix. I will be playing a monk with a new archetype that's part of the campaign, and also one of the playable races from the setting, which is a Medusa. Be quite interesting to play. I believe that we have a human fighter led by the great Manakai. I believe the last time we talked, Valky was going to be doing a druid
Nymph.
nymph, that was the word for them. And then lastly we had Sareth, who was... I've completely blanked on what he was actually going to do.
A human bard.
Human bard.
Or a elf bard? I don't actually...
Oh, I
I'm not
think it
actually
was...
sure. One of the mortal races, for sure.
Yeah, one of the mortal races. So we've got an interesting split of the mortal races, 1 native and 1 cursed. It's a really cool setting. Should be a ton of fun. However,
Also, perhaps worth mentioning, it's D&D 5th edition.
Yep.
Which I don't think we've mentioned.
We've not mentioned D&D 5th edition, level 1 to 20, I believe, is the goal.
Yeah, 1 to potentially 20. I'm not
Potentially
going to
20.
promise level 20, but I see it as being very likely.
Yeah, so potentially 20, which is exciting. I think the highest we've ever gotten is 15, 16 in 5th. What was Out of the Abyss? 15?
Wasn't that like... No, that was much lower, wasn't it?
13,
I don't actually
14.
remember.
Yeah, but nowhere near 20, that's the point. And those high levels areas is where stuff gets crazy in 5th edition. Like, just immunity to some damages in some classes and real crazy powers. You become real heroes, and like demigod level for like sorceresses are stupid powerful at that level. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting because we've never gotten that far in a 5th edition campaign. So it'll be new for us.
Most campaigns that Wizards of the Coast release themselves, which is what I think we've been playing mostly,
Yep.
they just stop at like level 11.
Yeah, they don't go very
With
far.
some exceptions, of course, but most of them don't go that far.
No. I think most playtesting never went that far. Like, never went further than that. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So we will be recording. It's happening fortnightly at the moment, which is every 2 weeks, on a Saturday evening. Stream usual time, and recording put up whenever I can get around to putting the stream up, because it does take time to upload. So links to that in the description. Links to our Discord server in the description as well. It's a slowly growing community there. And I think that's pretty much it. Sheep. I think that's it.
I think that's it. Do you not do the thing that other YouTubers do at the end of videos?
What? Tell them to subscribe and hit the like button,
Yeah.
and what was it? Press the bell button and say to always notify, because YouTube changed their notification options all of the time. We don't do that really.
Yeah.
In this instance, I have, but generally not. If you do like it, like it. If you want to comment, comment. I'd love to hear what you think of the setting. Actually, that'd be good. And I'd love to hear your opinions on a druid, bard, fighter, monk party.
And also, it's worth noting that the player's guide is free on various websites. We can probably leave a link to that in the description, right?
Yeah, I mean, if I get one, then yeah, we'll put
I'll
something in
get
there.
you.
Yeah. We'll put a link in the description for the player's guide, and if you want to run it, I'm sure you'll easily be able to find where you can buy the full adventure path.
I'll give a link to the Kickstarter as well.
Yep.
I
Because of
believe it's
course,
still actually receiving updates, although it's mostly, wrapping up things, sending out the physical books and all that.
yeah. They definitely deserve some love. Player's Handbook alone is amazing, filled with incredible artwork and very well laid out, which is sort of a rarity in 5th edition. 5th edition is somewhat broken in how it's laid out, so it's quite nice, and I very much enjoy it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks everybody for watching. Hope to see you in the stream. And yeah, see you then.
See ya.